Hi everybody, thanks for watching this video. Today's topic will be differences between Vedic astrology and Bazi. So let us begin. First, we talk about the history of Bazi. Bazi literally means 8 characters, 8 Chinese characters. So why 8? There are 4 heavenly stems, or the Tiangang. Then there are 4 earthly branches, which is the Dizi. So together there are 8 characters. That's why we call it Bazi. Based on historical evidence, the concept of Tiangang Dizi has already existed since the Shang dynasty for many, many thousands of years. But it was until the Tang dynasty, attributed to this guy called Lin Xuzhong, who actually used the Tiangang Dizi to form 6 characters. That means he used the Tiangang Dizi to represent the year, the month, and the day. There are 6 characters. So this is the first systematic approach to foretelling the future. So he used this system. There are only 6 characters during his time. Then later on, during the Northern Song dynasty, Bei Song, there's this person called Xu Ziping. So what he did is he added the hour, using another 2 characters to represent the hour. So ended up with 8 characters. And this is the current form that we use in modern times now. And because he is the one who come up with this system, we also attribute the study of Bazi and call it the Ziping Xue, named after him. So on the right here, the picture here, you see Yuan Hai Ziping, right? His name is mentioned there on the cover of this very old manuscript. Then for Vedic astrology in the old days is called Jyotish, made up of 2 Sanskrit words. One is Jyoti, means light, then Isha, which is Lord or God. So together it means Lord of Light, but a lot of people explain it as a study of light. So what light is this referring to? It's referring to lights from the planets in the solar system and their impact on people on Earth, right? The humans on Earth, right? In the old days, Vedic astrology, this term is not commonly used. Most people will refer it to as Indian astrology or Hindu astrology. Okay. Then the first mention of this system of prediction was first mentioned in the Vedas. Vedas are very ancient religious literature of Hinduism. So there are 4 parts to the Vedas. So one part is called Atharva Veda. So the Atharva Veda is said to be existed since 4,000 years ago. So it was first mentioned about this system of astrology in the Veda. Okay. Then within Vedic astrology also, we have a very important book. We call it the Bible of Vedic astrology. The title of the book is called Brihat Parashara Hora Shastra. So it's written by Sage Parashara, one of the popular saints of ancient time. The birth period of him is unknown, but many ancient texts have mentioned about him, and it is inferred that he lived around 3100 BCE. Then on the right here is an image of the cover of a modern translation. So one of the key differences is the sensitivity of birth time. The Chinese, for the Bazi, we will use the time of birth and convert it to the Chinese hours. There are 12 Chinese hours, named after the 12 earthly branches. Each Chinese hour, we call it a shichen, which is equivalent to 2 hours of the 24-hour clock. So for example, like Wu Shi, or the horse hour, is from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. And for example, maybe Mao Shi, a rabbit hour, is from 5 a.m. to 7 a.m. So because it spans over 2 hours, Bazi allows people with estimated birth time to actually create their birth chart. So somebody who is born, he knows he's born after 6 a.m., but exactly how many minutes he does not remember. But we know that 6 a.m. is well within the 5 a.m. to 7 a.m. Mao Shi. We can use this already to calculate his Bazi. So that's the advantage of Bazi Xue. You don't have to have precise timing if the time of birth falls within safely within a 2-hour time span. But of course, there will be situation where it's a borderline case. Then we will create using both hours, just the earlier hour and the later hour, and make a comparison and see which chart is more accurate. Then for Vedic astrology, there's no conversion of the time. We use directly the 24-hour clock. And Vedic astrology, we use the exact birth of time. It has to be exact, right down to the minutes. So if somebody who have a birth chart birth certificate that does not have the birth time, it will be very difficult for us to use Vedic astrology. And there's a process called birth rectification, but that one is very time consuming and it may not be necessarily accurate also. Then apart from the exact birth time, we also need the time of the time zone that is of the city of birth. That means the birthplace, what is the time zone belonging to that geographical area. So even though a person may be born same day, same time, but being born in the US and being born in Asia, for example, in Singapore, the rising sign could be different, completely different because of the differences in the time zone. So over here, I give a sample of how a Vedic astrology birth chart looks like. Over here, if you can see my cursor, there are actually 12 houses in a astrology birth chart, the Vedic astrology birth chart. This is first house, second, third, fourth, fifth, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 houses. Alright. So the first house here is actually based on the degree of the rising sign. That means this is the eastern horizon at the time of birth. So the number here represent the zodiac sign. So in this case, this is a Taurus. Number 2 is Taurus. So this person at the time of birth, the sun is rising, or the eastern horizon is directly aligned with the Taurus sector of the sky. Okay. So this thing is constantly changing. The horizon is constantly changing. So the degrees here changes 1 degree every 4 minutes. For the degree, you will start from 0, you will travel all the way until 30 degrees. Okay, one sign is 30 degrees. So for that to happen, for the rising sign, the degree of the rising sign to pass through all 30 degrees, it will take about 2 hours to completely pass through. So after 2 hours, whoever is born 2 hours later, the rising sign will be the next sign, which is Gemini. Okay, it's just roughly to explain how a Vedic astrology chart looks like. Next, we go to make a comparison between the two charts, Vedic astrology versus Bazi. Okay, on the left here, you see it is a Bazi chart. Bazi, like I mentioned, is 8 characters. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is one Bazi of a person. 8 characters. Here, the first 2 represent the year that the person is born. It is the month. We call it the month pillar, year pillar, month pillar. And this is the day. And this is the hour. Okay. So this person is born in the Shen hour between 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. So this is the actual birth time. This person is born 9 December 2023 at 3:15 p.m. Okay. But like I mentioned, because it uses a 2-hour duration for the Bazi, so somebody else, like person B, same day, but he born at 4:45 p.m. He will have the exact same Bazi because it's still 4:45 still fall within the Shen hour. Shen, this is the hour, Shen hour. Between these two persons, although they are born quite a bit of time difference, their Bazi is exactly the same. And in terms of Bazi, the focal point to analyze the whole Bazi chart is here. This one. This is the day master. That means it's the element that represents the day the person is born. So we will use this as the focal point when we analyze a Bazi. Okay? But this does not change. Whether this person born in the morning, afternoon, or evening, the day will not change. What change is the hour pillar. Because each hour the change, then this pillar will change. So in a way, Bazi, if the person is born in a certain day, 75% of the chart does not change. Whether he's born in the morning, afternoon, or evening, only the hour pillar change. The first 6 characters does not change. The year, month, day does not change. Okay, this constitutes the 75% of the chart. That is why sometimes without the hour pillar, we can make some form of analysis just based on the date of birth, because we have 75% of the chart here already. Then over here, we have the Vedic Astrology chart for this person born at 3:15. So based on the number here, 12 represents Pisces. So this person is born at a time where Pisces is at the eastern horizon. Okay. For Vedic Astrology, we use the first house to represent the person. Like Bazi will use the day master to represent the person and analyze the chart in that context. So for Vedic Astrology, we use the first house as the person, and we analyze all the other 11 houses in relation to the first house, this one. Then in the second chart here, for person B, you can see that for Vedic Astrology, although the Bazi is the same, but for under Vedic Astrology, the chart has changed. For person B, born at 4:45, the chart has changed. It's no more Pisces ascendant. The number here has become, instead of 12, it becomes 1. That means this is Aries. So this person born later, person B, is actually a Aries rising. And because, like I say, the first house, this is the first house, it represents the person. This will mean that the person A and person B, they will be influenced by the sign here. That means their personality will be very different. One will have the characteristic of Pisces. Person B will have the characteristic of Aries. This is how we are able to analyze personality in more detail. Because based on Bazi, it's exactly the same Bazi. So this, if we use Bazi, these 2 persons have the same personality. But if you use Vedic Astrology, you can still define them as different. You can see the difference in final difference of their personality. And a lot of planets will go to different houses also. Next thing is derived chart. For Vedic Astrology, beside the birth chart, we will use something called the divisional chart. That means we use the birth chart, the first chart, the usual one that I showed you before. We call it D1. Then from there, we will use certain mathematical calculation to derive additional chart. The most common one, there are 16. So beside the natal chart, D1, there will be other charts, D2, D3, D7. So each of these chart is for us to zoom in on certain areas of their life. If, let's say we are analyzing the career of the person, we look at the natal chart, the D1, it indicates certain things, but we want to confirm it about the career, we'll zoom in on D10, the Samsha chart, which is about the achievement and profession. So we zoom into the derived chart to make even more accurate predictions. And likewise, we predict about the parents. Then we want to confirm certain things. We zoom in on the D12 chart, which is specifically for parents matters. Okay, so there's this concept of divisional chart in Vedic Astrology. But for Bazi, no, there's no such thing. Bazi, we straight away just depend on that natal chart, the Bazi chart, to derive and make predictions. This is another difference between the two systems. Then another difference will be the luck cycles. Okay, luck cycles in Chinese, in 八字, we call it 大限, 大限, huh? So in Chinese, the 大限 is evenly distributed in blocks of 10 years. So 大限, because when we look at the natal chart, is to analyze the static predictions. Okay, but we want to predict about dynamics, dynamic predictions. That means each year, each period of time in life, what is going up, what is going down, what is that period good for? Right? If you're looking for romance, what is the period that is suitable for romance? When will you expect a career rise? All that you have to look at the luck cycle. For the 八字 system, the 大限 is evenly distributed in blocks of 10. So you can look at the chart here. This is a sample chart. This person, his luck cycle starts at 2 years old. So these two characters will decide the luck for that period, all the way up to 12 years old. Then these two characters will indicate his luck for that period. Then 10 years later, it will be 22 years old. Then is this period, 辛酉. Okay, and another 10 years later, 32 years old, you'll start the 庚申 luck cycle. Okay, so on and so forth. So it's evenly distributed. It's always 10 years one. But within the 10 years, we do split it into smaller periods. We call it 小限, but 小限 is not commonly used. Most 八字experts will, if they want to analyze a specific year, the annual year luck, they'll go to the 流年 or the annual luck period. Straight away, they use that to make the prediction of what will happen in certain years, whether you'll marry in a certain year, whether you have children in a certain year. You use the 流年, the annual year period, and match it with the 大限 to do that. Okay, this is the 八字 system. Now we look at the Vedic Astrology system. So Vedic Astrology, we call the main cycle is called Mahadasha. Maha is great, so Dasha is a period. So great period, the main cycle. But in Vedic Astrology, there's actually many Dasha methods, but the most common one is called Vimshottari Dasha. Vimshottari means 120. Why 120? Because it literally means that the cycle lasts only for 120 years. Because based on ancient time, the saints, they believe that the most average person won't live past 120 years. So even modern times, even those people who live to a ripe old age, they don't live past 120, maybe 110, 115, then they pass on. But the key difference is that for the Vedic Astrology version, the years are not distributed evenly. It's not a 10 years period. You can look over here. The 120 years is distributed in this manner. So certain cycles, it can last 20 years. Certain cycle, like the sun cycle, it lasts only 6 years. If it is going through a Saturn cycle, then it lasts 19 years. But this sequence is fixed. Okay? Each period is associated to a planet in a fixed sequence. Right? As I mentioned, the duration is different for each Mahadasha. So because some periods are super long, like 19 years, 20 years, Mercury 17 years, if you try to use that to make prediction, it's meaningless. Because if somebody in his prime going through the age of the Venus, Mahadasha 20 years, you say, oh, you're going to get married. During this Mahadasha, you're going to have children. In this Mahadasha, you're going to have career rise. You are not going to make sense because it's over a span of 20 years. So many things can happen in a year or 20 years. So for Vedic Astrology, we use a lot of the sub-period, or known as Antardasha, the sub-period. The sub-period was slice the 20 years into smaller chunks. Then from there, we can make more defined analysis. Then we want to look at the yearly prediction. Then we just simply use the transits of planets each year to predict events. The other difference between the two systems is that the 八字 there is emphasis on male and female charts. Because whether it's a male or female charts will decide the sequence of the luck cycle. So this is two charts. Same time, same date of birth. Okay, but if it is a male, the luck cycle starts at 2 years old, then every 10 years it changes. Okay, you see the elements here are different. The Tenkang teachers are different. But with the same time of birth and date, but if it's a female, then the luck cycle will start at 9 years old, and the heavenly stem and early branches will be different also. So whether it's a male or female will affect the luck cycle, the sequence of the luck cycle, and what kind of elements they will go through for each cycle. Okay, but this is unique to Bazi. Vedic astrology, there is no such differentiation. We don't care whether it's a male or a female. Maybe during the time when we analyze about marriage, of course, then we'll look at certain planets that represent the husband if it's a female chart. Okay, or it's a male chart, then we'll look at certain planets that represent the wife. Other than that, we don't make such differentiation. The other difference will be remedies. Bazi, typically we use the color as a form of a remedy. That means certain elements you are weak, you are lacking, we try to incorporate more of those beneficial colors in terms of your clothing, in terms of environment. So these are based on your 喜用神 or favorable elements in the Bazi. Okay. Then another common way to balance the Bazi, because Bazi is all about balancing the elements, the 5 elements. So some will be very strong in your Bazi, some will be very weak. So we want to try to balance out, and that is how we remedy the Bazi. So the other form of remedy commonly used will be 姓名学, that means the Chinese name selection. We will choose the characters that belongs to certain elements that support the Bazi, that balance out the Bazi. Okay, this is very common. Then, of course, there's also use of feng shui, tapping the energy in the living and working spaces, and use of feng shui ornaments to improve the luck. But does this apply to all Bazi practitioners? No. There are certain school of feng shui who do not agree with this. So although they use feng shui, they don't use Bazi. They don't mix the two systems. Okay? But of course, there are many masters out there who knows Bazi, and they also know feng shui. So they will use feng shui as a form of remedy. Then for the Chinese, there are many other methods, but they are religious in nature and not directly linked to Bazi. Then we look at Vedic astrology. For Vedic astrology, same thing. There is a use of beneficial color. We look at what are the beneficial planets in the chart, and we try to make use of this color in terms of the clothing, in terms of environment, to benefit from these energies from the good planets. Then there's also similar to Bazi, there's also name selection. But for the Vedic name selection, we use sounds to activate the benefit planets. Okay, there are 108 sounds for this purpose. So we identify the sound that activates the good houses, the good planets in the chart, and we name the person using those sounds. Then the next one will be charity or donation to people associated to the planets. Certain planets we want to remedy is afflicted, we want to make it stronger, or it's causing affliction, we want to appease that planet. We will make donation to the people in society that's related to those planets. Because in Vedic astrology, certain class of people in society represent certain planets. So for example, like students are represented by Mercury. Mercury represents students. So anything we do with students is also associated with Mercury. Then old people, elderly people is related to Saturn. So if you want, your Saturn is causing affliction in your chart, then we will want to make do charity or donations to old folks' home or that to appease Saturn. Then there's also this thing called planetary Sanskrit mantra. These are ancient mantra passed down since thousands of years ago. So when you chant this mantra, it's in Sanskrit, it actually balances out the energy in your chart. But for this to work, you need to chant thousands and thousands of times. Okay. Then there's also yagya. Yagya are ancient rituals, fire rituals, to appease the planet and reduce their malefic effects. Yagya is not something you do at home. Yagya is usually done at a temple, the priests who are doing this ritual have to be trained in the ancient ceremony. So they are doing it correctly in order to have that effect. Otherwise, if you go to a temple and the priests are all very commercialized, they chant, but they are not doing it correctly, or that, then yagya will be useless. You won't find it effective. Okay? Then there's also the use of gemstones. Certain stones represent the energy of certain planets. So if a planet is beneficial to you, you wear the stones, the gemstone related to a planet, to create more energy, to absorb more of that beneficial energy, right? For example, Venus is related to diamond, so you wear diamond will actually benefit you if Venus is a good planet in the chart. And likewise, you can wear yellow sapphire if Jupiter is a good planet in your chart. Then, of course, there's also Vastu. Vastu is like an Indian equivalent of Feng Shui. But not all Vastu experts are trained in Vedic astrology. That is a fact. A lot of people are trained in Vedic astrology, but they are not Vastu trained, and vice versa. So with that, I covered most of the differences between these two systems, the Bazi and the Vedic astrology. Hope you can gain some knowledge from this video. Thanks for watching.